Hello students and welcome back to your literature segment. Just like last time we have did one of the chapters from class 10, today we are going to do a new chapter and the name of the chapter is A Question of Trust. Okay, so last time we have studied about a story which was there regarding Buddha Gautami, and before that we have studied about glimpses of Goa, and today I am going to take you on a new journey, that is a question of trust. So this story is also like very mysterious and just like Midnight Visitor, which we have done last time in our last chapter, this story also has some mystery, some suspense, okay, and the writer is Victor Canning, was a famous, he is an English writer of novels and thrillers, okay, जैसे कि हम लोग movies में देखते हैं, just like that he is a thriller story writer. His thrillers are famous for their romance, mystery and unexpected highly thrilling endings. उसके thrillers क्यों famous हैं? क्योंकि उनमें जो ending part होता है, that's like, it's awesome, okay. It just gives you a feel of suspense, like what is going to happen next, what will happen now, okay. So, began the series of 4 books that featured a private detective named Rex Carver. उनकी जो first 4 series थी, उसमें उन्होंने एक प्राइवेट डिटेक्टिव के बारे में बताया है जिसका नाम था रेक्स कार्वर, ओके. एंड टुडे वी आर अगेन गोइंग टू रीड वन ऑफ हिज स्टोरीज एंड दैट्स अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ ट्रस्ट. सो व्हाट इज दिस स्टोरी अबाउट? सो फर्स्ट लेट्स कम ऑन रीड व्हाट इज द इंट्रोडक्शन. Denby, he goes to rob a safe. There is a character named Denby. He just went to rob a safe. ठीक है, वो चोरी करने के लिए जाता है. There he meets a young lady who pretends herself to be the wife of the owner of the house. और जब वो रॉब करने के लिए जाता है उस पर्टिकुलर हाउस में, तब वहां पर उसकी मुलाकात एक लेडी से होती है, ओके. एंड दैट लेडी tells him that actually she is the wife of the owner of the house. So of course सी बात है कि when you are up to something and suddenly the owner enters the house, okay, then what happened? But in reality she is also a burglar. But in reality वो जो lady होती है, okay, वो खुद भी एक चोर ही होती है. She is also a robber, okay, and she is not the wife of the owner of the house. He leaves his fingerprints all over the room, but very smartly that lady actually traps Denby, and how she does that, this is all we are going to read in this particular story, and how Denby actually gets involved in this robbing part. Okay, actually he has not robbed anything, he had just hand over everything to that particular lady. उसने क्या सोचा कि ये ओनर की वाइफ है तो मैं सब कुछ इन्हें दे देता हूँ, and he just handed over everything. What mistake he did, he just left his fingerprints in all over the house. But now how does all this happen? So now let's rewind back the story and first learn the theme of the lesson. Thieves and burglars are come face to face while on the same mission of robbing a safe in the house. Now basically thieves and burglars come face to face. Okay, both of them are together and their mission is similar, that they are going to rob that particular house. Okay, उन्हें उस हाउस में पड़ी उस तिजोरी की चोरी करना था. So the lady and Denby, both of them were having the same agenda. Both of them made elaborate preparations to make the theft a complete success. दोनों ने अपनी अपनी तैयारी करी थी, okay? They were thieves, so दोनों की अपनी अपनी preparations थी that how they are going to rob that particular safe. Horace Denby robbed a safe every year only to buy rare and expensive books. जिसमें जो डेनबी था उसका एजेंडा रॉबिंग का सिर्फ ये था कि उसे बुक्स पढ़ने की आदत थी, बट ही वॉज नॉट सपोज टू बाय दोज बुक्स फ्रॉम हिज ओन मनी. बट उसके साथ में एक और आदत भी थी कि वो सिर्फ उन्हीं पैसों से किताबें खरीदता था, द मनी विच ही वॉज अबाउट टू रॉब, जो पैसे वो चोरी करने वाला होता था, ओके. बट वॉट अबाउट दैट पर्टिकुलर लेडी? एंड दैट लेडी एक्चुअली कॉट हिम रेड हैंडेड. The young lady in red was also a thief, but she presented herself as the lady of the house. और जब उस particular lady ने ये देखा कि मुझे तो कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, already there is a robber inside, so why not I should just pretend. Okay, then what she did, she just pretended to be the owner of the house, and everything was done by Denby, who was initially actually was not a professional thief. but he was just addicted towards it just to buy some new books. Horace, in confusion, requested her to go away. Confusion में आकर उसने उससे क्या रिक्वेस्ट करी कि तुम यहाँ से चली जाओ, just go away. I am the one who came first. Okay, I just came first. At last, a compromise was reached. The cost of Horace's freedom was settled. अब लास्ट में उस लेडी ने क्या कहा, इफ यू वांट टू सेट फ्री, अगर तुम्हें यहाँ से जाना है, देन यू आर गोइंग टू रॉब दिस सेफ एंड यू आर गोइंग टू गिव मी एवरीथिंग. He was to open the safe and hand over the jewels to her. Horace thought that he was opening the safe for the lady of the house. और उसने क्या सोचकर वो तिजोरी खोली कि मैं ये तिजोरी इस घर के ओनर के लिए ही खोल रहा हूं, but in reality she was a thief. After 2 days, Horace was arrested on the basis of those fingerprints. और अगले 2 दिनों के बाद में Horace को उस चोरी के लिए अरेस्ट कर लिया जाता है. Why? Because his fingerprints were there on the safe, not that particular lady's fingerprints was there. Grey-haired 60-year-old lady, the wife of the owner of the house, stated that Horace's story was nonsense. In reality, जो owner of the house था, उनकी जो wife थी, she was not a young lady, she was a 60-year-old grey-haired lady, जिन्होंने कहा कि मैं इसे जानती तक नहीं हूँ, I really don't know that who this guy is, and he just robbed my safe, and he is telling that I told him to rob it. But actually में that lady told him to rob that particular safe. So now let's read the summary. Even though I am very excited that this is just a plot of the story and it's so interesting, and now let's see what is the actual summary. A Question of Trust is written by Victor Canning. This story is about a thief, Horace Danby, who was a good citizen. Horace Danby was basically a very good citizen. Okay, he was an unmarried 50-year-old man who used to work as a locksmith. He was a successful businessman too. He was a very successful businessman and had 2 helpers to assist him. Although he was a respectable man, he was not completely honest. He was a respectable man of society, but in reality, Horace Danby was not fully honest. Why? Because he has that habit of robbing and then to purchase the new books. He would rob a safe once a year, and that too he is robbing a safe once a year, and purchase the expensive books covertly through an agent. He would chalk out a well-devised plan before making any burglary attempt. This time, he had his eyes on a house at Shotover Grange, and he carefully studied its rooms, electric wiring, its paths and garden for 2 weeks. Now the house which he was going to rob this year, he had just make a full map of that particular house, that from where he is going to enter, where are the light switches, what is the wiring system in that particular house. He was fully prepared because the whole year he was planning it. Okay, and then he used to rob once in a year. The family in that house was in London. Particularly in that house, a family was living in London. One fine afternoon, the 2 caretakers of the house had gone to watch a movie. एक दिन शाम को दोनों ही घर के caretakers movie देखने के लिए गए थे. Horace realized this was the best time to execute his act. उसी समय Horace ने decide करा कि अब मुझे जाकर इस घर में robbing कर लेनी चाहिए. He had picked a key from the hook on the kitchen door. He quickly wore his gloves. He just wore the gloves and everything, and he was fully ready to rob that particular safe. Danby knew the safe was hidden behind a poor painting in the drawing room. उसे पहले से पता था कि वो जो सेफ है वो ड्राइंग रूम में लगी एक पेंटिंग के पीछे है. Beautiful vase full of flowers kept on the table. He was allergic to the fragrance of flowers, but he was allergic to flowers, and when that smell just went into his nose, he just started sneezing. As he sneezed again loudly due to the fragrance of the flowers, he heard the noise of a young lady standing in the doorway behind him. और तभी उसे एक लेडी की आवाज सुनाई देती है जो कि बिल्कुल उसके पीछे खड़ी है. The lady was dressed in red and pretended to be the house owner's wife. जैसा कि हमने इंट्रोडक्शन और थीम में पढ़ा, that particular lady pretended to be the wife of the owner of the house. She said that she had come there without notice to collect her jewels as she wanted to wear those at a party that night. उसने क्या बहाना दिया? That I was not knowing that someone is there in the house. I just came to pick up my jewelry because उसे वो jewelry रात को पहननी थी in a party. Danby was frightened that the lady might hand him over to the police. As soon as, of course सी बात है, that if Danby is a thief, और अगर घर का ओनर घर में आ जाएगा, definitely चोर तो डर ही जाएगा. So he was scared. Okay. Now what happened? Then she just told that if you want me to free you, अगर तुम चाहते हो कि मैं तुम्हें यहाँ से जाने दूं, then just open the safe and hand me over all my jewelry and then I'll let you go. Horace Danby's fingerprints were found all over the robbed place, but one mistake what he did was that he just left his fingerprints over there. Didn't steal, but actually he was not the robber that particular time. In reality, it so happened that the lady was also a thief and she convinced Horace to break open the safe for her. When he told this story to the police, जब Horace ने पूरी की पूरी कहानी पुलिस को सुनाई, no one believed him since the owner's wife was 60-year-old woman. Why? Because the owner's wife was a 60-year-old woman and not the one Danby mentioned in his statement. Okay, because that was a young lady and in reality, जो owner की wife थी, she was very old. Often thought of the charming, cunning young lady who was also a thief like him and tricked him into believing her. Actually, that lady was very smart and she just made him believed that I am the owner of the house. And in all that confusion, actually he was trapped. Henceforth, whenever anyone mentioned honor among thief, he would get very angry and upset. और इसलिए जब भी उसके बाद से, उस पर्टिकुलर इंसिडेंस के बाद से, whenever Danby used to listen कि in thieves there is a trust, he used to get angry. Why? Because he trusted that lady and she just trapped him and she even put all the blame on him. In reality, he was also not honest, but actually his intentions were clear. Now, what will be the conclusion of this particular story? That we should not trust anyone blindly. Okay, you should not trust anyone blindly. First, you need to actually know what that person is actually. Okay, and particularly we just believe each and every person. So, it's not true and we should not do that. We must be careful while we are doing something for another person. Okay, so very first question is, now let's discuss the question answers. What does Horace Danby like to collect? He likes to collect books, but by the way of robbing. And you are not, and basically this is all about trust. This chapter, this story, what the writer wants to tell us by the way of this story is that don't trust people blindly. First know that what their intentions are. Why does he steal every year? It's simple, because he likes to collect books and he likes to purchase those books after robbing once in a year. Who is speaking to Horace Danby? A lady standing in the doorway spoke to him. She was young and pretty and wore a red dress. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments kept there. She said she arrived there just in time. उसने क्या बोला आते ही कि मैं यहाँ पर बिल्कुल सही समय पर आ गई, otherwise you have robbed my house. Okay. Who is the real culprit in the story? Basically, who is the real culprit according to you students? It's Danby or it's that young lady who was standing over there. So, the real culprit in the story was a young woman who pretended to be a family member of the Shotover gang. Basically, उस घर में उस lady ने अगर ये pretend नहीं करा होता, so right now she is the real culprit, not him. Did you begin to suspect before the end of the story that the lady was not a person? क्या आपने story सुनने से पहले ये बात कभी सोची थी that she was not the person who actually robbed that particular safe and it was Danby? Yes, we began to suspect before the story ended that the lady was the actual culprit who tricked him. Okay. So, what are the subtle ways in which the lady manages to deceive Horace Danby into thinking she is the lady of the house? ऐसे क्या key points है जो हमें ये बताते हैं that actually he believed that she was the lady of the house? Her confident walk, how she entered the room, how she adjusted the ornaments kept over there, how she said that there is a safe and the jewelry is inside the safe and she was knowing maximum things about the house. Okay, so everything was just plotted and Danby was actually forced to believe her. Okay, there was nothing like that he would not believe her. Horace Danby was good and respectable but not completely honest. So he was good and respectable but not completely honest. How can you just justify your statement? Yes, it's true because he just loved to read books, but being a good businessman, he was somewhere guilty to rob anyone in his particular state, and he used to just get those books from that money which he was actually robbing from another person. So he was not completely a honest person. Horace Danby was a meticulous planner, but still he flattered where he go wrong and why. Now, he was a very good planner. The whole year he used to plan, but still at the end, he was the one who was found as a culprit. So the women just tricked him and just made him believe that she was the owner of the house. This is the way that he just got flattered and he just believed her. Do you think Horace Danby was unfairly punished? Yes, of course he was unfairly punished, because this time, basically in this particular robbing, he was being trapped and was committed to do this particular robbing. Okay. Do intentions justify actions? Would you like Horace Danby do something wrong if you thought your ends justify the meaning? Satisfy their own selfish interest. The end does not justify the means. Nobody should harm others to satisfy their own selfish mean. हमें कभी किसी को अपने मतलब के लिए तकलीफ नहीं पहुंचानी चाहिए. Okay, and that was the same thing the young lady did with Horace Danby, and actually he was also doing it with others. So somewhere the earth is round and everything just circulate. So a question of trust is that if you are trusting anyone, don't trust blindly. And the writer has just portrayed this whole story so beautifully that it actually gets a very deep meaning. Okay, so this was it for today, and I just hope that you guys understood the chapter very well, and just work on the last questions which you are supposed to write by your own. Okay, up till that time, and we will discuss the next chapter in our next segment. Thank you so much.